Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Dubkast. It is May 30th, episode 7. I'm your host, Trent, or Dirty Assault, and today we are joined by our special guest, David Strum, or CaustiCobra. David, thank you so much for joining us today.
Hey, thanks for having me, brother.
A few things we want to mention before we begin. As all of you know, we are on all major streaming platforms, and now we have video on YouTube. Just search Dubkast Gaming Podcast, and you'll find us on there. We'd love to hear everyone's feedback because it truly helps us in making the best content for you all. Now, no need to make you wait any longer. Let's dive into this episode. All right, David, appreciate you joining me, man. We've had a fun week ahead of us and behind us with some of these updates that they've been coming out with and some of the new things that some of these video game developers have been releasing. What do I mean by that? Well, just the other day, there was some state of play, with some of these new games like Horizon Forbidden West that is going to be coming out and, well, has come out. That game is a big PS5 release that's going to be in the future. And just some of these game updates that we've seen that have kind of added a little bit of fun to some of these games that haven't really had much going on recently. So I thought we'd dive into those. But first, again, welcome. And I'm excited to dive into your streaming channel and, discuss some of these things. Me and you have played video games many a times together. Everything from, running raids to our dreaded battles in the trenches of For Honor. So, we've been all over. We've been all over. So, but
that's been a minute
for sure. So, one thing I did want to kind of talk about, I had this experience that I have never had before on Rocket League recently. And I know these last couple episodes, I've kind of talked on Rocket League quite a bit. And there was a previous guest, Fire Dinosaur, that he plays a lot of Rocket League, and he's a champion level, has actually reached grand champ level competitor. And so he joins in. I sent him a message, hey man, do you want to play? Because he was giving me a hard time for not playing with him since the recording. And so I hop in with them, and my main thing is I love playing competitive, right? So I've really been grinding, trying to get recognized because I've been stuck at Silver 3. Me and you have played Rocket League, and it's we always play the casual fun side of it, but then we throw ourselves into competitive, but I've never really taken it serious. So I started taking it serious. I moved up from Silver 3 to Gold 2. I'm still obviously trash, right? But for me, it was exciting to finally see that climb. And I was getting a little win streak going. Well, me and Fire Dinosaur, we team up. He joins up with me. I'm like, let's play some trios. So he throws a warning out there. I'm just going to let you know we will matchmake to my skill level. You probably already know where this is going. But dude, I have never been so worthless on a team in my life. I mean, I literally felt like no matter what I did, I just had to watch everything happen in front of me. So I match made with a couple, I think it was Diamond 3s, some champions, and it was just a whole new experience. One that I don't wish on my worst enemy, because dude, I mean, I'm still learning the flight, flying up, hitting the ball. And when I get those, I'm like, yes, I'm a top tier player. It's a whole new world when you go to hit it and somebody steals the hit from you and they just carry the ball across the entire arena and they just tap it in, and you're like, I did. I mean, it didn't matter. It seemed like every time somebody touched the ball, it was flying towards the goal. So, we went and competed in duos, and I felt even more useless. Uh, my buddy Luke, Fire Dinosaur, he
Mhm.
basically just carried us. I stayed in the goal and blocked 10% of the shots at us, and then I
Yeah,
just
that's
kind of
10% more than you could have blocked.
right. So yeah, I don't. Have you played any of the season 3 since it came out? I know that
Um,
we played a little bit, but I don't know if you've checked it out, how you're feeling about it, if you're liking it.
gonna say, I mean, so as far as I can tell, like from season to season, Rocket League doesn't really feel like it changes a whole lot.
Hmm.
It's pretty much the same game two
New
seasons ago as it
car.
is now, right? I mean, okay, yeah, like you've got new cars with new hitboxes and stuff, but at my level of play, which is not that level, okay.
Right.
So I'm sitting at like, I think with the little bit that we played, I was at like plat 1, gold
Hmm.
3, that sort of gap there. It doesn't make a difference, man. It's the same game. Like you have your guys that are good at aerials and have no game sense. You have your guys that are good at game sense and have no like actual skill.
Hmm.
You know, so honestly, it's still fun. Like I love the Rocket League to death. Picked it up on PS4 back when it was free. 20, what was that? 15, 6 years ago now. Good lord.
Yeah, it's been a while. It's been out
But
for a while.
yeah, but then like they released it for free, and now more people are playing it again, and it's a good time. Nothing.
It's nice that they incorporated the NASCAR with that
Yeah,
partnership.
yep.
So they brought in some newer kind of
Mhm.
arenas and stuff, as they usually do
Yeah,
with
like
with updates. But yeah,
they did the
it
NFL one back in the day.
God, I hated that. I could not understand that. It was so hard for me. And
I don't know, dude.
but I do see your point, because it's really hard when you get stuck in your skill level, and it
Hmm.
and you can't get out of it. And from what I've heard from people, platinum is really hard to get out of, because it's like people are not good enough to carry you out of it,
Hmm.
but they're also just good enough to keep you in it. So it's
Yeah, yeah.
so
It's kind of the gatekeeper rank, I think, is what I've seen it referred to as. Because
yeah.
like you're saying, you can't a platinum level player, plat 3, like getting ready to move on to the next rank, isn't going to be good enough to solo carry 1v5 their team to victory, right?
Hmm.
But they're also going to be competent enough to where like you can't then carry yourself if they're doing bad, because even their like level of bad is still going to be good enough to lose you some matches.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's just been my past week or two. I've just been kind of trying to get better at that, but
Absolutely.
clearly my eyes were wide
Opened.
as as I realized the nature of that.
Mhm.
Some other cool stuff with Call of Duty. I haven't really hopped on Call of Duty because of some of these other new games that we'll dive into, but they
Okay.
came out with a Rambo and John McClane skin. I mean, you can't go wrong with that. I mean, that
Yeah.
makes you feel like a badass, right? I mean, you're
Oh yeah.
running. So I always think it's cool that Call of Duty comes out with these like pretty cool skins that you can rock. The only
Yeah.
my only knock on that is that, look, I'm not spending $25 on a skin. You know what I mean, man? So that's
I'm with you
that's
on that.
yeah,
I'm with you on that.
it's just yeah. But it's cool that they're still adding some stuff. I think that this season has definitely been one of the best, in terms of, it seems like everything's been pretty well balanced.
Okay.
There's a little bit of some guns that are obviously being rocked more than others, as you would expect,
Of
but
course.
yeah. So I was actually going to ask you, because this is a game that we've dived into before. You've probably dived into with some of our other friends,
Mhm.
and I really wanted to talk about the excitement level that you have, because personally for me, I didn't know how to feel about it. And maybe some of your opinions might you know, help me decide how I truly feel about it. But
Yep.
in a way, it seems weird, but also seems very interesting. So Borderlands, been a
Okay.
franchise for a while now. They've put out lots of good games. Well, now they're dabbling into the movie industry. So Borderlands is coming out with a movie with some pretty big name actors. So it might be legit, but here's a few people I was gonna name.
Okay.
So Claptrap, right? Jack Black is
Okay.
playing.
Yeah.
You know
I
what
can
I
see
mean?
it. Yep. Yep.
I,
I see it.
so that just, I can't think of a more perfect role for Jack Black than Claptrap. Uh, Roland is Kevin Hart. So Jamie
Really?
Lee Curtis is going to be playing Tannis, and then Kate Blanchett is also in it, and she's playing
Okay.
Lilith. So some bigger name actors that are going to be playing some of these roles. I haven't played Borderlands in quite a while, but one of the big things that's always came to mind for me is, as avid video gamers, I think the idea of a movie that is centered around a game that we love always sounds like a good idea, but it always has a lot of room for failure.
Oh yeah.
A lot of
Oh yeah.
ways that they can make mistakes. Personally, and I'm going to get backlash for this, and I don't know how you feel. Look, I thought, well, I don't mean to sidetrack us, because this is
Mhm.
definitely going to sidetrack us, but I
Uh-oh.
personally wasn't in love with the Mortal Kombat movie.
Okay.
I thought it was all right. I didn't I thought I
Yeah.
saw a lot of people 10 out of 10, one of the best.
I
Um
thought it was good. Like
yeah,
from my perspective on that, it was like it was a good movie. If you were expecting it to be super like on target with the lore and everything, you were probably gonna walk away a little disappointed. It
mhm.
was a good movie in its own right, though, I think.
Yeah, they definitely took some elements of Mortal Kombat that helped give it that natural feel. I thought that, a little bit of, I don't know how I feel about this guy that has been an MMA fighter, and he's had this birthmark that, look, dude, if in these present times, if you got a birthmark like that, you're showing that thing off to everybody. You're not going to be like, oh yeah, I mean, I guess I had like this dope ass birthmark, but
Right.
it's just I mean, whatever. But there was just a lot of stuff to it that I thought they could have done a little bit better. Some of the acting was really kind of cheesy in my opinion. Either
Yeah.
way, I still thought it was good. I just didn't think it was 10 out of 10. I thought that there was a lot of ways they could have done it better. I thought the way that the movie opened up was really great, but I digress. Really, all I'm saying is there's still a lot of ways as us gamers that have experienced everything, like you said, lore and all that, top to bottom, that we can nitpick the hell out of for on these movies that are influenced by games. And
Mhm.
it's becoming even more so. Netflix announced that they're trying to do partnership with gaming as well to help bring some of these games to life. And so I don't know. I feel the thing about Borderlands is one of those games that I could easily see it being a movie, and it not you're not
Mhm.
having to really stretch as far, because it is
Yeah.
essentially humans, right?
Mhm.
Going after bandits. Pretty easy to make that into a movie. Now, one of the speculations that was out there that I'm glad was kind of squashed is there's even movies like God of War that people were like, oh, that needs to be a movie. Or games, sorry, like God of War, that people are like, that needs to be a movie.
Yeah.
Personally, I love God of War. Probably my all-time favorite game, at least up there, top 5 at least, right? And
Okay.
I'm glad that they're not going to make it a movie. I think that is one of those games that could easily be butchered and just,
Oh yeah.
not done right. And
Yeah, it's the
so,
risk that you take for sure.
mhm. So I mean, how do you feel about some of this stuff as an avid gamer, especially because you play a lot of role playing games and
Yep.
or MMOs and stuff like
Mhm.
that. So I guess the reason I bring that up is these are these type of games that, well, kind of like Witcher. I thought Witcher was done really, really well.
Oh,
and to see those games come to life, I thought really kind of helped show what some of these developers or these production teams could do.
mhm.
So I mean, where's your head at with some of this? Are you excited that they're trying to venture into this world? Do you think that maybe it's a little biting off more than they can chew?
I'm gonna kind of wait and see because I mean, if you saw any of the like video game based movies, and I can't think of one offhand because they were awful, but
Yeah,
like the last, I don't know, say 10-ish years ago, there were like a whole bunch of video game movies that came out, and every single one of them was awful. Like they were all terrible. People went and watched them and said they sucked, and that was kind of the end of it, right?
mhm.
So at least we've moved past that to where it's a viable thing that somebody could develop a movie or a TV show or whatever about a video game and have it actually breathe life into the series or be a be like an equal part of that game's universe as the game itself, right? So for me, I'm gonna kind of wait and see with this Borderlands movie. I don't love the Kevin Hart casting. I'm probably gonna get a little bit of hate for that, but I just for me, back when Borderlands 1 came out, I do not think Kevin Hart when I see Roland, right?
Right.
It's just not him. Claptrap, literally perfect casting. I could not be any happier with that. I can see Kate Blanchett as Lilith, like just like facial structure wise at least.
Mhm.
And I think they could have similar personalities. I could be wrong about the about Kevin Hart playing Roland just like as a specific thing. I could be wrong about that, and it could be great. And I hope that I'm not so right that it derails the movie. But I mean, we've moved past the point where I immediately see video game movie and know it's gonna suck. Like, The Witcher was great as a series, right? I mean, the
Mhm.
game was embattled at first, got its patches, got really good. Everyone loves it. Got its TV series, and I thought they did a fantastic job with that too. So I'm not going to say it's going to be awful. I'm not going to say it's going to be the greatest thing that cinema has ever seen, but I'm more on the optimistic side. I think it'll be pretty good if they've gotten these actors. I mean, clearly they have a budget, so
Yeah.
I mean, at least it should be fun to watch, right?
I think that I think that we're moving toward it's just so much better to get these ideas into a series or a mini series. I think that the movie aspect, they just try to cram so much into one movie that it
Yeah.
ruins it. And I think that that's where Witcher really delivered, right? And I think you see a lot of that through the universe of even comics. I mean,
Mhm.
don't get me wrong, there's some great movies, but there's also some movies so let me reiterate this because I don't want to get too off topic, but I personally loved like the Green Arrow, right? So Arrow,
Okay.
I thought that show was great, but there
Yeah.
is a point where you're kind of stretching it and doing too much.
That's fair.
So you got to find that middle ground because that show started off great. And then I thought
Mhm.
it kind of fell off, and then it became too much about stuff that wasn't like, look, dude, this guy's supposed to be a superhero. I want to see badass stuff. I don't want to like, I mean, this is also the movie industry, but I don't want to see how he falls in love and how he's like getting heartbreak. It's like, just let me see him beat some people up, So the Punisher, right?
Right.
That is what I need. so um
Okay.
so I guess the only reason I bring that up is I just feel like a lot of these production teams, a lot of these people are doing a better job turning some of these things into a TV series instead of a movie.
Okay.
And maybe that should be the direction that they go. And maybe that's why Netflix is trying to dabble in some of those things. I think that,
Yeah.
like you said, Witcher was great, and I thought it got a lot of really good reviews, and people were really satisfied with it. And so, doing these as a movie, I hope that it's good. But I agree, Kevin Hart is look, Roland to me is more like The Rock.
Yeah. Right.
he
Okay.
he's like this big, huge
I was
dude,
gonna say
and
he's a big badass dude, right?
yeah,
So that's
but
not Kevin Hart to me.
yeah, so we'll see what they do with it. But I'll give him a shot. I'll see what they can do. So I mean,
I think out of all of the games that I can think of to make a movie out of, though, like Borderlands is a pretty good one because, like you said, it's got a pretty, cut and dry, kind of story where as you play through the game, right, and they could do stuff that's like not in any of the games, and they could kind of take some license with it,
mhm.
or do some other stuff like that. Like they could go some different directions that maybe we aren't expecting as well. But yeah, no, I think you're right. It would probably be best or better as a series, and we'll have to kind of see what they do with it.
Especially because with Borderlands, it is so do this mission, do this mission, do this mission. Go with your team and go do this. It's a lot of
Linear progression, yeah.
yeah, there's a bunch of like different like little things you go and do, and I could see that being episode, but we'll see. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. And so there's
Yep.
there's some other games that they're trying to turn into some movies and stuff like that. So we'll see where that's at going forward. But personally, I'm excited to see in some regard this starting to happen. I just hope that they do it the right way because it's going to really feel, like they're falling short if they don't give it the amount. I think that too, that is where you get a lot of the value in casting people that aren't big names, because
Yeah.
then you're not having to funnel all this money to get just a face on the screen, and it's very easy for people to do that, and then they half-ass the movie plot because,
Right.
well, we got a couple big name people.
That's
So
fair. Yeah, and I mean, I hope it's not a cash in. I kind of hope it'll be good. I mean, Borderlands is fun. It's last of a series really, and
mhm,
I just hope they kind of live up to that. Like, because I don't want it to be anything off the reservation for Borderlands either. Like, I would
mhm,
hate for them to go and be like, "Oh, it's a super serious." Like, and
mhm,
I mean, with the Jack Black and Kevin Hart casting, it's not really going to be that, or hell, Jamie Lee Curtis either.
mhm.
Like, it's obviously not going to be a super serious thing, but like, I hope they don't go too far away from what Borderlands is to the people that have played it, because that to me at least would kind of go away from, hey, we're going to make a great movie and hope people enjoy it, to, hey, we're going to take this series and make a movie and cash in on people liking it. I just hope it's less of a cash in and more of like a tribute, or
Mhm.
like a meaningful addition to the series.
Yeah, I agree. Is there a game that for you that you would love, like, despite all of the failures that a lot of these people have had, is there a game that you would see, like
Hmm.
you would love to see?
I think a game based somewhere in the Elder Scrolls universe would be really good.
Mm,
Just because, so it's high fantasy, right? So you can have a little bit of leeway as far as your special effects and stuff like that. It'll be fun to watch because there will be magic and all that stuff. But as far as the actual lore of the game goes, there's a lot of spots that you could really kind of pick out as far as making a making a compelling story, right?
right.
Like, I know the game came out a long time ago, but just like as a side note, Kingdom Come Deliverance, right? The story of that game is not that you load in and you're immediately some big huge badass with a sword, and you're going to go and carve your way through, like Poland, right?
Right.
It's, hey, I'm just some random dude. Some really bad stuff happens to me, and I need to learn how to like defend myself and not be useless as I am right now. Like, that's kind of how the story goes. And I think like building a compelling story around a character like that, as opposed to like building a story around like the really established, like the emperors or whatever, right? Could be really good in that universe, because there's a lot of like really big tumultuous political stuff that happens in that universe, but it'd be kind of fun to see from another perspective, assuming that the movie was guaranteed to be good. Like,
Hmm. Now I could be getting a little touchy with lore, but you know, what if you even had a movie that was about the lost, or the earliest civilization? too, like before it became what it is. Um, so it was at the dwarves. So,
Mhm.
but if I had to, because I love that idea. I love Elder Scrolls, the entire everything that they've put out. I even spent a lot of time on ESO, but if I had to pick, I feel like it'd be kind of cool to see like a universe from like the wood elves,
Yep.
or just because like they come from such a beautiful place where
Oh yeah.
it's just so colorful, and they could probably do a lot of really cool things with that. So yeah, I love that. I think that'd be pretty awesome if they could do something like that. But we'll see. Maybe that's on the list. I assume that a lot of these developers and production teams are getting together and weighing these options, especially Elder Scrolls. I mean,
The
look,
Xbox
all
owns them
due,
now, so
all with all due respect to them, they are looking for any venture, it seems like, where they don't have to come out with a new game. Just like,
true.
I
True.
mean, come on, we've rode Skyrim for 3 consoles now. Can we get a new game?
People make that joke about Grand Theft Auto, but Elder Scrolls is probably worse.
Yeah, but so another game that's going to be coming out that I want to
Okay.
transition to, that me and you have played as well. Look, this used to be the game I live and died by, and it was, and I picked it over Call of Duty. So Battlefield 6 is going to be dropping, and I don't know where your excitement or hype level is, but the last Battlefield I wasn't in love with. I played it honestly for a month, and then I never touched it again. Battlefield 1, the game prior to it, I played it nonstop. Played it over any Call of Duty that came out. I mean, I seriously did not buy Call of Duty for like 3-4 games. I felt like,
Okay.
granted, that was because Call of Duty segued into that Infinity Warfare type stuff where people are running on
Yeah.
walls, and it was becoming more like Titanfall or Halo, and it just wasn't for me. I wanted
Right.
something cool. I wanted something either modern or,
At least it felt real. No, I feel you.
yeah, so Battlefield comes out, Battlefield 1, you got the planes, you got the tanks. I mean, it was just everything it needed to be.
Mhm.
And so why do I bring that up? Well, I bring that up because they stuck with that. And we already spent like an entire year and a half rocking out on that. We were ready for modern warfare. So they stuck with it, came out with like another World War type setting,
Yep.
and Call of Duty transitioned into modern warfare. So it was exactly what we were all kind of waiting for. And so now I've been playing Call of Duty like crazy, but now with Battlefield 6, it appears they're trying to get back to that modern warfare Battlefield 4 kind of feel. And dude,
Yep.
I remember playing that with the squad,
Oh yeah.
and so this one is going to be set in 2025. It looks like that you're going to be able to play the campaign in co-op, which I'm really excited about that. There's going to be abilities in it though, like COD perks, like how they have
Okay.
some of those. So that could be interesting. I think that you got to always kind of make some changes to your game and try to do new things. So as long as it's not
Yep.
anything too crazy, I'm all for it. You're
Yep.
going to be able to use military robots, drones, and jets. So bringing back
Okay.
some of those elements, which would be cool. There will be no Battlefield hub, so we'll see how that kind of works out. And there's going to be 4 soldier types.
Okay.
So I'm interested to learn more about those and kind of see. I mean, I assume what assault, sniper,
Right. What
medic,
medic support?
and support. Yeah, I mean, I'm assuming that just from all the previous ones. Multiplayer
If it
is
ain't
gonna
broke, right?
is gonna be like 3 or 4. That got
Okay.
me so excited because I
Oh yeah.
absolutely love Battlefield 4. I really wish, honestly, dude, Battlefield Bad Company takes me back to some days, but
Yes.
you know,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
but the big reveal is coming in June. So once we learn more about that, we'll watch more of the stuff, read up on more of the things that they release, and talk more about it. But where's your hype level with that game? Because for anybody that likes the FPS style games, Battlefield is seems to be the most real the most real feeling, you know,
Yeah.
when you snipe, all the Coriolis effect comes into play. You got, you know, you got all that stuff, right? So
Yeah.
you you got to be aware of all elements,
Yeah.
even people shooting and breaking down walls. So, so
I hope they bring more of that back. It was always really fun. Like I remember at least, man, back in like three, I think they had like there were a lot of giant maps that you could just lay waste to, right? And I know that they like the peak of that was Bad Company too.
mhm.
Man, that was great. Just like because it did. You were right. It does feel more real when that happens. And I mean, it Battlefield has always kind of prided itself. Hardline out of the equation has always kind of prided itself on being the more realistic or I don't want to say balanced because balance is different for every game, but like it feels the most tactical I think out of all of the AAA shooters, right? So I would compare it against like the Call of Duties, either Treyarch or Infinity Ward, either one of their games, right? Or something like Halo. Battlefield's kind of been in its own sort of more tactical side to that, I guess. And as if they're willing to go back toward that a little bit more, I will be pretty excited about it, to be honest.
Yeah, I'm excited just to see them listening to the fans. Anytime any of these developers do that, it makes you feel like you're important, like your voice is being heard, and
Yep.
clearly, they have to notice the number drop off with their last game. I mean, if you go
Oh yeah.
and you look at, my buddy was telling me this the other day, if you go and look on Steam on the amount of people that are playing the Battlefields, the last one that they released, I mean, it's really died off. Even Battlefield 1 has kind of died off, but Battlefield 4 is still alive and thriving. So what's that
Yep.
tell you, you know? The only thing that you
No,
have to worry
you're
about
absolutely
is
right.
with a lot of that stuff, you just get hackers and stuff that really flood it.
Yeah,
But
unfortunately, that's a risk of playing on PC, right? Well, I mean,
mhm,
it's a risk anywhere, but it's more of a risk on PC,
yeah,
especially when they're not actively working on the game anymore,
mhm.
which is always tough.
Yeah, my best performance on Battlefield was Battlefield 1, and me and a buddy of mine, Zach, or Wonder Breads, we teamed up and hopped in this tank. Dude, he was so he was our repairman, right?
Okay.
And we're in this tank and we're like up on this hill. Dude, nobody could take us out. I went 98 and 2 that game, and it was yeah, bro. I
Oh
that's
yeah.
my claim to fame. And it was strictly I had to put all of you know all of the support from him really helped us because like I'd be just boom, boom, just blowing people up, and he'd be on the little machine gun if anybody got close. And then
Yep.
as soon as we get hit by a couple, he'd hop out. He'd be back there, like cranking it up, fixing it. So
Hell yeah.
yeah, dude, we went off that game. But that was my only game like that. Never had another one. But it don't matter.
Right.
I'll ride that high forever because that was so fun.
Oh
But
yeah.
I just hope that they bring some of these aspects back that we've missed.
Right. Especially given the success that Call of Duty had with its Modern Warfare release, at least,
Mhm.
where I mean, you could tell people really, really bought back into Call of Duty for that. So I feel like if Battlefield is willing to listen to what the fans want a little bit more, go back toward what people remember as like being their really good stuff, right? Like Bad
Mhm.
Company 2, 3, even 4, even though a lot of people complained at the time that 4 was just like a reskinned 3. 3 was good. Like I don't remember anybody who played Battlefield 3 that like enjoyed shooter games like that and thought that either 3 or 4 were not good games. Like it was just that, 4 didn't really innovate very much and it feels like they're kind of trying to straddle that line a little bit more as far as innovating while staying true to what their fans like and what made the series a AAA series, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. But hopefully they'll release more of that information, kind of let us know. I really, I think I seen somewhere where there was some Warzone style talk, some being implemented. I would much rather them just do their own thing, but
Yeah, I don't want to see a battle royale from Battlefield. It's just not the right style of game, honestly.
no, the game already
Battlefield's
feels
Battle
like that. Just I mean,
Battlefield's
even
about
with
you being a cog in a machine, exactly.
yeah, but so I wanted to bring this up and see where you're at with it. I don't know if you've watched any, but for anybody out there that's played it, there is a new game that came out recently, and it is Knockout City. So it's pretty cool. I've really been enjoying it, and so I wanted to share some of this gameplay footage with you, and we can talk about some of the things that are going on. So this is Knockout City.
Okay.
And it's a game in which I got a dub, so of course I'm going to show that. But pull this up here. This is kind of how you play this game.
Yeah,
You're able to pick up these dodgeballs. That's essentially what this game is. It's dodgeball, and you can charge up the ball. You can spin around, and you can do a trick shot to where it'll kind of come around from the side. You could do a front flip, and it will go up and over the little drop shot.
Okay.
And or you can just charge it up and straight throw it. Now, depending on how long you charge, depends on how hard you throw it. So you can, mix some stuff up and do some slower throwing and kind of throw them off. But everybody gets 2 hearts. So as you can tell, some of those people got, like, I just got knocked out right there. But some of these people have 1 heart, some of them have 2. So that just means that they've already gotten hit. So we're currently up 5-2. And every game has it is like as you can tell, it's an arena type aspect, and every game gets a special ball. So those special balls are the sniper ball, which is essentially a football, and it allows you to charge it up, and then you get like a laser that like sits there and locks onto people, and then it's literally like, it flies, and people still snag it. That's the crazy part, but because you can catch, see, as I did right there, you can catch stuff that people throw. And there is a multi-ball. So essentially you get 3 balls in one. I think it's 3. Pretty sure it's 3. But you get multiple balls that you can just, throw right off the bat. And then there's a cage. So yeah, little KO win for me right there. But then there's a cage that you can throw, and it basically locks people up in a like little cage, and it's got like these little like police sirens that are going off, and then so you can literally pick the person up and throw them out of the game. Or you can you can just throw them at one of their teammates. And then there's a moon ball that allows you to kind of have 0 gravity. You're kind of jumping up slowly, getting a little bit of height, and then you can throw it. And then there's the bomb. It's like a little bomb ball that, timer starts as soon as you throw it. But yeah, so I've been enjoying this game. It's looking like it's going to be a $20 game. The block party just ended. So anybody that didn't get to try this game, there was a free trial for it, and unfortunately that trial is over. But if you have EA Early Access, you're going to be able to play this game for free through that. But $20, right? This to me looks like a $20 game.
Yep.
Depending on what they do with it. You got your solos, your trios, and your quad plays so far that I've seen, and each one of them really bring in kind of a different element. See, that's that cage ball there that I'm about to throw.
Okay.
See if I get him. Nope. KO'd him though. So each of them bringing their own kind of elements. This is trios right now, and so I'm essentially, like, as you can tell, it is literally just dodgeball. But I'm interested to see what they can do. And so with the character customization, it's fun because you can make your squad look like you can have crews in this game, and you can add in different elements. So maybe you and your squad have a certain explosion. Maybe you guys, the little logo on your back is going to be the same. So I don't know, different ways that they've kind of made it feel more of like teaming up squad play, not just, oh, I'm trying to run this thing solo and be the best dodgeball player the game's ever seen. It takes a lot of teamwork, really, because if you get double, triple teamed, it is very hard to get out of that unless you're just nasty with it. See, that guy caught my ball, then I caught his because I don't play that stuff. And I knocked him out.
Right, of course.
But we're going off on these guys 7-3. This is like when I was doing really, really good. Look at that. Boom. My player got in the way. So anybody that is curious, we are going to be able to show this gameplay footage on YouTube. So just be looking out for that, and you'll be able to see a little bit of this gameplay. Or you could visit my channel and see some of the games that we've been playing. Been streaming this one a lot, so I think that you'll definitely have to hop on this game with me sometime and check it out, because when you got a squad with you, it's just so much more fun.
Yep.
KO'd that dude, and we're about to get the dub right here. Boom. And yes, if you guys are wondering, I did get the MVP, not to toot my own horn. So pretty fun. Definitely one that I think if you haven't checked out yet, you should go check out. So I just wanted to show that.
Yeah, looks pretty fun.
Yeah, I think that when you got games such as that or Rocket League, they're just so much more fun for pastime. I don't have an hour to kill. I just want to hop on and play like a couple games of this.
Yep.
Those games are nice to have, especially with Rocket League being 5 minutes. This one obviously takes probably 10-15 minutes for a match, depending on how good the team is, how quick it goes. But yeah, so if you guys haven't checked that one out, go check it out. You've now seen a little bit of gameplay footage on it, talked a little bit on it. So next thing I do want to talk about before we kind of dive into your channel,
Yep.
I kind of want to, I'll be real brief with it, but Horizon Forbidden West actually came out with on May 27th, so just the other day, came out with their state of play. And man, did you played Horizon Zero Dawn, right?
Yep.
Beautiful game.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, just the way they designed that game is so appealing to the eye. And it's and they've kept that. And so I think this is going to honestly be one of the biggest games with the PS5. And the biggest reason I say that is I felt like there were so many aspects to this game that they did right. Just the mechanics, for one, the combat system, all that stuff just felt so natural, right? Even the story, you didn't feel like you were getting kind of hung up on like a part of this adventure that you were ready to get over with. Everything kind of always seemed to kind of drag you in. So I don't know if you got to watch the state of the play or not,
I have
but
not.
so I'll tell you a couple things on it, man. And I'll be honest, dude, I'm really excited for this game, but a couple things that I learned from it, for anybody that's not aware or familiar with this game, it is set about 1,000 years in the future. And they're in San Francisco, and there's these giant animal-like machines that have taken over and basically left people to be tribal again. So you run into a lot of these, scavengers that are just trying to live, or they've made or formed these gangs of, rebels. And it's very primal feeling, right? You got spears and like a bow or a slingshot, and you're in this like machine-like world that has been ran over. It's almost it's a post-apocalyptic, but in a very interesting type of light. And so there's this red wave that's kind of taken over the world, and it's turning everything evil. So you might have this little machine deer Well, once this red stuff takes over it, it instantly turns aggressive. So the main character, Aloy, is trying to change all that, trying to take away all this evil that's spreading over the country, and is trying to save everybody. And the setting was on a beach for the state of the play, and she comes across some raiders who have learned the ability to override the robots or machines. And so she finds that they have kidnapped her friend and follows them to a settlement. In this adventure, going back to the settlement, we come into a couple of new technologies that we see are happening, and a couple of new environments, one of which being underwater. They're going to put an emphasis on being able to swim. Yeah, dude, it's pretty
Okay.
dope. And so she's swimming, and this giant alligator machine just comes like swimming by her. Not messing with that thing. so sneaks by that.
Gonna be a no
But
for me, dog.
yeah, no thank you. So some new technologies that you guys can expect in this game that's going to be that they show in the state of play is there's going to be a focus scanner that will highlight climbing areas. They had a little bit of the focus scanner in the last game. This time they want to highlight some things like this is how you can climb, whatever. Shield wing is new, and it's basically like a parachute or and basically like an apparatus that you can use to kind of glide, sneak up behind people, fall slowly without making noise. And then there's that diving mask that I was talking about. So that diving mask allows her to swim underwater and not have to worry about coming up for air. And then she's going to be able to override. So you might like this, dude. She's going to be able to override machines to ride them as mounts to take into combat, or override them to use them for combat. Which on Horizon Zero Dawn, she did have that ability, but it wasn't so much mount driven. It was more, I felt like teaming up. Like she would kind of have one that could fight with her. And then there's new upgradable weapons such as the spear, the smoke bomb, the slingshot with adhesive grenades, this device that launches and fires spikes. And then all these things are going to be upgradable through the workbench. So now, as she goes on, it's only a 14-minute video, and as she goes on, she eventually has to fight these guys in the settlement, all these raiders. Well, now that they've discovered how to ride, they're riding this new machine that we've never seen before called a trimmer tusk. Dude, this thing is a giant mammoth-looking creature. So sick looking. I mean, the design on it was pretty dope. And so she ends up taking it down using some of those, adhesive grenades and some of these newer weapons that they've kind of implemented. But, I think that the combat still looks smooth, and the graphics, like I was saying, are just immaculate. But they did say some more updates are going to be coming closer to the game's launch and release. So I'm excited. I just kind of wanted to briefly go over some of those things because it was so fresh, and I'm very excited for this game because I enjoyed Horizon Zero Dawn so much that I'm just excited to hear some of these things and now physically be able to see it. So if you guys have not watched it, go watch the state of play, and it'll get you very excited. Now, granted, anybody that is a PC player or anybody that is an Xbox player, this is a PlayStation exclusive game. One paired with God of War, that is probably why I'm going to stick with PS5 and PC versus making the jump to Xbox, because these exclusives that the PlayStation or Sony in particular is coming out with, amazing. So
yeah, it's a little unfair. I'm a little jealous.
yeah, right. But so I don't know. We'll see. We'll see some of those things coming forward and more of the discussions surrounding that game. But I hope you guys are excited for it, because I'm pretty excited for it, and I think that those elements that they're bringing into that game are going to be great, and the story sounds like it's going to be pretty dope. taken off from the last game. But I digress. Let's dive into your channel, man. I want to
All right.
ask you some questions before we come out of here, because there is some stuff going on with your channel that I'm very interested in. I've never played any of the newer Final Fantasy games. You've been playing some of that, and you've kind of released your schedule that people recently, that people can kind of follow you through. So let's dive into that, man. Your follower count right now is currently at 56. So you are recognized by Twitch. You know, you're an affiliate. And what's that feel like, man? Because as somebody that has played games alongside you, that is a goal that everybody has, I feel like, whenever they start streaming. And it somewhat seems unattainable at first when you realize the grind that it takes to get there. But it seems like you've reached that, and now it's only up from here. And so is there anything that you did to kind of achieve that goal, or any kind of, I guess, yeah, I guess we can leave it at that. Is there anything that you kind of did to achieve that goal, or is there anything that you're currently looking to do to grow your fan base?
Okay. Well, I mean, first, I've been streaming for a really long time. I don't have like my starting stream date like on hand, but I know it's been at least probably 3 or 4 years minimum that I've been like really hardcore streaming. Uh, I did have to take some time off due to some personal stuff, but for the most part, my channel kind of grew from the Final Fantasy XIV. That's the main game that I play. Basically, it's the MMO Final Fantasy, the newest one that's come out. Um, and I do a lot of like the end game raiding kind of content with, I have my like currently I have two groups that I raid with, on different like classes and everything. So that's kind of where my following first started. I've also streamed a lot of like League of Legends in the past, and I might start streaming that again a little bit more. And then just kind of depending on what I play determines like what else I've streamed. I streamed Remnant from the Ashes when I got that. I've streamed a little bit of Dark Souls here recently. But yeah, I mean most of my following as far as my channel goes came from Final Fantasy XIV. Um, the rating community is relatively large, but like the following for the game itself, as far as watching it on streams, outside of some like bigger streamers with a few hundred viewers, is relatively small. So honestly, I was kind of surprised more than anybody else that my channel even hit this point. Uh, but the main thing that I can really say that helped my channel kind of take off would be making more of a consistent effort as far as like a schedule. I try to do my best to create and stick to a schedule. Like right now, I stream Fridays and Saturdays, like 7 to 10. We've been going a little bit longer recently, but you can guarantee that my stream is up Fridays and Saturdays no matter what. In the past, when new rating content has come out, I've streamed 4 or 5 days a week. But it's really, it's consistency. And then now I'm not going to say plug your channel to everyone you meet, because everyone gets annoyed with that. Obviously, I mean, I get annoyed with people who do that too, but make just make an effort to like make a good impression on people, and then somebody who sees that you're streaming or sees that you are like playing stuff will be more likely to kind of jump in with that or be willing to support your channel a little bit more.
Yeah, consistency is key, man.
For
And
sure.
I've had people tell me that if you want to get started, it's always good to play games that aren't heavily saturated with people,
That's
because
true.
then you get a little bit more traffic that kind of flows through what you're doing. But Final Fantasy is one of those games that, I mean, like you said, you're playing 14. Think about that for a second on how many, So it's got to be exciting for you as somebody that loves the game to kind of see people taking the time to check in. And that's a long grind. I tell people all the time when I've had guests on that I know that it seems like it's simple and it's easy, but there's so much work that goes into becoming a streamer that you don't see, that the logo design to the channel, like making sure that whenever you go live, you got like maybe a clean border, or a counter, or my recent follower, making people feel like they're staying engaged
Mhm.
or being spotlighted, I guess, whenever certain things like that come across. So, do you find it difficult for fan engagement while you're playing games like this? Maybe something as such like a game like that where you might be rating and you got people that are trying to kind of shout out some questions or chat with you. Did you find that difficult once your fan level started growing?
Honestly, no. So that's actually something that I really enjoy doing. Like it's part of the reason that I stream is the interaction with chat, interaction with, people who are watching. Um, especially given that Final Fantasy XIV, like first off, it's not a game that like a lot of our friend group plays or has played or anything like that. So people can come in and, ask questions. More than happy to, answer questions and stuff like that. There might be times, and there have been times, in for example, the clip that I sent you that we'll probably go over later. I would not be able to answer questions during this whole thing basically. But one of the things that I have enjoyed the most is being able to interact with people and the fact that I've grown my knowledge of how to play the game at a high level to the point that I can explain it to someone else and someone can come in and ask me, "Hey, how would you do XYZ in this situation?" And I can, kind of explain my thought process on that and have my advice kind of be sought after that way is really, really cool. So honestly, I really enjoy the fan interaction, especially when it comes to 14, because I know a lot about like the nuances of the things that I do at least. And if I don't know the nuances to the things that I ask and or someone asks me, I have people that I can reach out to as well that would know those things better than me.
So, do you find that whenever you play different games, some of those people kind of even show up in those too? Like, do you have these recurring viewers that you can constantly see joining in the chat whenever you're going live to check in on, maybe how far along you are or what you got going on at that present time?
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of people that'll pop in every so often, regardless of what I'm streaming.
Mm.
Like I said, most of my following came from 14, but if I stream other things, I've got a few people that'll pop in when I play League or on other stuff, and it's good to have those same faces around. Know that they're gonna at least occasionally pop into the stream. You know what I mean?
Right. So then with that, what is your schedule currently looking like? You said Friday and Saturday. Do you have a time frame that you particularly like to play a certain game, or is it you usually will announce that ahead of time? Hey guys, this Friday, this Saturday, I'm going to be playing this game.
So right now, as far as my schedule, it's basically my rating schedule. So as a raid group, there are 8 people in a group in 14, and obviously there are 8 in mine as well, and we have to kind of figure out what times and what days are going to work for people. So the group that I'm currently with now is running Fridays and Saturdays in the evening, like 7 to 10, somewhere in there.
Mhm.
Uh, these last couple of weeks, we've been going a little bit longer because we've been getting kind of close to clearing the fight that we've been trying to progress through. Um, so right now, that's kind of like my hard schedule. Doesn't mean that I won't stream other than that. It's just like it's not a formal scheduled day. Like I might stream some more this week, especially like with Memorial Day being off and everything. But like hard right now, hard set Friday, Saturday evenings. But usually I'll post well ahead of time in my channel near the bottom, I think, in one of the panels should be the schedule tab. So you can always kind of check that. And I keep that updated as well.
That's good. I think that always having that available makes it easy for people that might not even be as keen to keeping up with like social media presence, but
Mhm.
they are predominantly just getting on Twitch. At least they can check into that schedule tab and know exactly when you're hopping on. So you
Exactly.
mentioned a lot about 14, you mentioned a lot about raids. I would
Yep.
love to kind of dive into some of those.
Okay.
So this is I just walk me through some of the stuff you got going on here and what we are seeing. I'm gonna go
Okay.
ahead and
So
play.
go ahead. So this is The ultimate level content that was most recently released in patch 5.1, I think. We're at patch 5.5 now, so it's been a while since they've released one. They're not going to release another one this expansion. Basically, this is the hardest content that is out in the game right now. This boss, the concept is basically he's a goblin machine time lord. Like we're all currently getting locked into jails for the end of time, and if we don't kill him, canonically our characters would basically be banished to like infinity. But we managed to kill him on this pull, and as you can see on the right side, even though it's not super great quality, was 17 minutes and 28 seconds where we are straight rating that whole time. There are a couple of spots where there's cutscenes, like give us kind of a break, breather in the middle, but 17 minutes straight of us having to execute at a high level. Um, this this fight, especially, even compared to the other two ultimate fights that have been released like in the past, really demanded that everyone be executing almost perfectly. The last couple of ultimates, there were some spots where you could have someone die or make a mistake and it wouldn't completely stop the run from happening, right? In this fight, I mean, from even like as early as 30 seconds into the fight all the way to the end, like at that end part, if someone isn't in the right spot or doesn't make it to the correct spot in time or any number of other things, we can wipe. And that's 17 minutes gone. So that was a really hype moment for us. We had been progging for at least 6 months, off and on. Like we took a break for the new rating content at the time, the Savage level stuff, which is like a step below the ultimate, but we were able to come back and reprogress, get back to where we were, and push through to get the kill on this.
Yeah, I could definitely see that being frustrating if you put it in all that time, all that effort, and then it all goes to waste.
Yep.
I love the little cute uh whatever they were, the little midget people.
Okay, yeah, they're called Lalafell, yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, that shows what I know about them, and I probably shouldn't say
There
midget
you
people. I'm sorry, little dwarf people. Um,
go.
but you know, it. So, do you have a certain group that you raid with every time, or is it just random?
So me personally, I have like a group that's set. We've made a few changes since that video. Like that was our ultimate group, which had like one person different. My main group is most of that group right there.
Mhm.
The group that I'm currently running with on Fridays and Saturdays is a group that I'm running with on my alternate character. Just because that character is better geared for the job that I needed to do. For this other group, they're a little bit more casual. They're just kind of learning at their own pace, and that's more the style. So like, different rating groups, just like a different squad of anything, right, is going to have like a different attitude. To where like if I'm playing with you and Jeremy in like casual, right, we're just messing around, and that's kind of our thing. We're just having a good time, right? But like, with even with you guys at the same time going into competitive, we're a little bit more serious about it, right? So different groups are going to have different ideas on like how seriously they want to take things, how often they want to go. So the group that I'm rating with now is a little bit more casual. My main group is a little bit more hardcore, but not terribly so. I think we still, because I mean, we've got real lives, we've got jobs, we're in school. We can't. There are groups out there, and just it's this game, just like it is with World of Warcraft or anything of that like as well. Like those world first groups that basically go 24 hours a day and only sleep until they finish the whole thing. Like that is wild, and that is a level that I never want to I never want to
Right?
go to.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? That
it's a
is that is way too far. But yeah, so like, my main group runs, I want to say between 9 and 12 hours a week. Usually evenings we'll run a couple of weekdays and like a one weekend day or something like that. And then we taper off as we finish, and we're just like doing the reclears to get the loot or whatever. Um, but yeah, so you can do it that way. A lot of people do basically like random matchmaking, where at least in our servers, you have this thing called Party Finder, where basically people put up like an LFG post, right? So you have You go in and you say, I'm looking for this fight and I'm going to play this role and I need these people in these roles. And people kind of come in and just fill in those roles. And then you just kind of go and you can separate after you're done or proceed on to the next one or whatever. Like there are a lot of different ways that you can get into raiding. There is more casual content than that. Like don't be put off by the 17.5 minute timer you just saw. Like there's plenty of content for people that do not want to do that. Like that is the like top 1% of content. Like there is a lot of stuff that you can do in the game that is like meaningful and enjoyable that is not as intense as that. um but yeah, so like the main thing that I would say to like anybody who's watching, right, because more than likely very few of you've heard of the game, there is a free trial. And I hate that I'm gonna be the meme that is on the Final Fantasy subreddit right now, but there is a free trial for anybody who's never made an account before, or if you want to make a new account if you've already played or whatever. You can play on PS4, PS5, or PC, and the free trial is 100% free as long as you want, up through level 60 and through the entire first expansion of the game.
Wow.
So yeah, it's a lot. And I
So
just as an example too, I play on a controller. So anybody who's like, oh well, it's an MMO and I play on a controller, so that's not going to work out. I play on a controller, and I'm not to like toot my own horn too much, but I'm pretty good. So you can play the game, and you're not going to be at any kind of deficit. Like some things, honestly, I feel like are easier with a controller. So you can do either.
I understand that. I do that a lot of times too. I have people give me kind of a hard time because I'm not using keyboard and mouse on every game, but sometimes it's just more comfortable
Yep.
to not have to worry about doing all that. You can just kind of lean back and play. But I did want can just for anybody that doesn't exactly know, I know that you kind of talked about it being an MMO. Final Fantasy has had many different phases through time.
Mhm.
So when somebody does this free trial, what can they expect the premise to be for a game like Final Fantasy XIV and what they're going to do? Are we talking dungeon crawler? You talked raids. What is that? What is that sole premise of the game?
So the main premise of the game is that you, as your main character, right, and you're the main character of your own story, just like any other RPG would be. Your character is what's called the Warrior of Light. Basically, you are sent by a god of the realm, sort of, to like save the realm from being destroyed. And it's pretty cookie cutter at the very beginning because you're doing your like basic level 1 stuff. Oh, go kill 5 crabs or whatever, right? But you pretty quickly get into some really exciting story stuff. They have recently, within the last, I would say, 6 months, gone over the entire first part of the story with like the main game would level you up to about level 50. There was some stuff after the re-release of the game and before the next expansion. They have like content that releases each patch that advances the story along. Like they just released patch 5.55, which gave us a couple of story quests and kind of get us ready for the next expansion coming in about 6 months. I think it's supposed to be November. I don't remember the date, but you can kind of expect to have some pretty grandiose story. If you've ever played a JRPG, which I'll be honest, I really hadn't until I played this game. I played a little bit of Final Fantasy XIII, but that was it. You can really expect some like really grandiose story stuff. It's going to be a little over the top. If you're willing to suspend your disbelief, as far as like, okay, well now this guy's really like going to come in here and do this stuff, but like if you're willing to suspend your disbelief a little bit, it's a lot of fun. They go over a lot of different I don't want to say too tongue in cheek as far as like the real world goes, but they do go over some stuff that you can kind of draw parallels to in real life. As far as political stuff or like general kinds of ideas. But yeah, no, it's a good time. So you have your main story, and that takes you through all of the levels of the game. Current max level is 80. The free trial goes up to 60, but I mean there's plenty of story. You could realistically drop a couple 100 hours just getting through the main story.
It's pretty
It's
crazy
really
they
good.
offer all that for all the way up to level 60. Most of the time they do
Oh
it
yeah.
to like 10 or 20 at most.
Mhm.
So they're really offering quite the bundle there to
Oh
be
yeah.
able to experience the full scale of the game and play with friends. So I didn't even
Yep.
realize that they had that option. So I might have to check it out. The biggest thing for me is with games like that or ESO, I've just
Mhm.
always struggled to put in that time. It's always been too much, but people got way more time that enjoy games like that.
Yeah.
And when a game like Final Fantasy offers the like something free, like I just I love to see them do things around trying to get more people involved in the game, because then it makes it more enticing. My attention span just sucks when it when it comes, because I'm always like, ooh, a new game, ooh, a new game.
Right.
But I love those games like Diablo. So it sounds like it's got a lot of characteristics of that, and a lot of previous uh Final Fantasy games,
Yep.
but they've kind of taken their own take on it. Just some of
Mhm.
those, like, be able to enjoy it with friends and grind through it. So as long
Oh
as you
yeah.
got a crew, I could see that being a lot of
Mhm.
fun.
A
Awesome,
lot of the
man.
content is a lot of fun, like by yourself. Even like there
Mhm.
is stuff that you have to run with other people, and like you can queue in and run with random people, and it's gonna mostly be fun. But a lot of like the story content is, it's solo. It's got cutscenes. Like
Oh, it is a lot
there's
of it is
there's
solo.
oh yeah,
Okay.
there's a lot of budget, I guess, that goes into the story. Especially once you get into the first expansion and the first expansion zone, that story is phenomenal. And then even with a lot of the side quests, there's a lot of really good stuff that you can find depending on what you want to do. And the nice thing is too, like I know you played ESO,
Mhm.
but even in a game like that or a game like World of Warcraft, you have your character and they have one class that they can play, right? You can kind of rework a little bit in that same class, like if you're a sorcerer, you can build different sorcerer stuff, but you can't get away from being a sorcerer, right? The nice thing with 14 is on one character you can play every single class. So you
Oh,
don't have to
wow.
respec a character. You just equip a new weapon and off you go. That's it.
That's pretty awesome. Sometimes you get so far into it, and that was my biggest problem with a game like ESO, is you would get so deep into it, and then you'd realize, oh, I had to do this, and then my guy would be better. Too late. I've already dumped 20 hours into my character. I'm not remaking my character. So
You definitely don't have those problems.
that's awesome. Well, apparently it they are confident in their game, because to offer that much, they're pretty confident that people are going to stick with it and continue on to past level 60. So I it sounds very enticing to me, even to have the solo play, because I think that sometimes you just want to enjoy your character and you can get lumped in with these other people, and it kind of take away from it because they're doing more damage than you are. And so I could definitely see that. So is there any other game? I mean, I'm not, and if you're done with that one, I
Oh
don't
no,
want to I
you're
don't
good.
want to sway off of it, but is there any other games that, besides that one, that you're kind of looking forward to streaming or looking forward to coming out, or are you
Um,
pretty dead set on trying to grind through that one?
so I mean, as this expansion cycle's kind of come to an end or coming to an end for Final Fantasy, and like I don't want to. Some of the content in the game, like I just personally don't enjoy, so like I'm just choosing not to do it because there's lots of different stuff that you can do, right? So for different people, you're gonna enjoy doing different things, which is really great. Like I know people that have literally never set foot in a raid before that still play the game and have played since launch, even. But yeah, no, I mean, I've been streaming Final Fantasy a little bit less. I actually just picked Apex back up.
I did
Surprisingly
see
fun.
that. Yeah, I was gonna.
I was really, really, really bad at it when I first started. I don't know why, but I started playing again, and I'm like not doing terrible. It's been a lot of fun, even if I've been playing by myself. Um, I picked up the Dark Souls remaster a few weeks ago, so I'm working through that. About I would say halfway to 2/3 done with my first run. Um, Let me see what else have I been streaming. So I'll probably stream some League of Legends. Maybe not like this week, but maybe next week. I've just been kind of burnt out on it, but I like that game too. Let me see what else have I been playing. That probably probably about covers it as far as stuff I've been playing recently that I would stream. But I mean, there's always some timeless classics that I'll go back to, like Cody and I. You had him on
Mm-hmm.
a while back. He and I have been playing through some Terraria here within the last couple of days.
Oh, nice.
So it's always nice to be able to just go back and play a classic too.
It's always, yeah, and I love that those people that have variety too, because it also helps me make a decision on if I want to pull the trigger on some of these other games that they're interested in playing. You clearly primarily play Final Fantasy, but it sounds like you're getting to the point in which you've done everything that you needed to do. And so you're going to mess around and play with some of these other games until they come out with maybe a new expansion or something like that. And so a lot of those games I I do like. I would love to see some of that Dark Souls content again, because Dark Souls was always a really fun game. And
Watch me die a lot of times.
yeah, Apex is definitely making a big push again since the new season has come out. A lot of the new things that they've implemented, people are loving it. And League of Legends, a big following with that game. And
Oh, yeah.
it's I always love to see how people battle that intense pressure. So any of that would be awesome going forward to kind of watch you tackle some of those games. So, but you've been really consistent in posting a lot of these streams and going live for people to tune in and watch your journey through them. So it's going to be exciting to see what the next chapter could lead to once you kind of maybe wrap things up for a little bit. And I'm like we said, I'm sure you'll be going back to that game, to Final Fantasy, as time goes on. But yeah, so is there anything that you're doing social media wise, or are you kind of just sticking with
Mm.
your Twitch for right now?
I mean, I mostly use my Twitch. I do have a Twitter. I haven't used it in 4 years, but it's still
Mm.
like valid and everything.
Right.
You can follow me there. It's Twitter/CaustiCobra, same as my Twitch.
Mm.
Uh, I mean, I don't use it as much. If people want to see stuff that I do, I will tell you, I will not do the, oh, hey, I'm going live on Twitter. I will never do that. You'll never catch me doing it.
Mm.
It annoys me to no end when, all somebody tweets is that they're going live on Twitch, or that they're doing, this thing over there. Like, that's not what people would go to follow someone's Twitter for, and that's not what I would use it for either. So, I mean,
You'd
I'd be
rather be
happy
more
to revive
personal.
that. Yeah, exactly.
Makes sense.
I mean,
Well,
obviously, I stream on Twitch, so
yeah. Yeah, well, look, dude, I mean, I think that personally, this is my opinion, I think that a social media presence is really helpful. But with that being said, you are clearly doing things that are raising your followers. So I think that, you keep doing those and you keep playing interesting games and you continue down. I mean, you have an identity, and it's clear to see that with some of the games that you're looking forward to playing more of. And I think identity is more important than anything. Knowing what you are as a gamer and what you enjoy playing, everybody's going to have flexibility when it comes to wanting to take some time off to try out new things. And that's always okay. But I think that a lot of people gain a good following because they have their identity set in stone, and they know that whenever that, hey, CaustiCobra is going live, they know exactly what to expect.
yep.
So you've got that shaped up, and it's clearly been working for you. So it's exciting, man. I love when friends of mine and people out there are chasing that dream and just sharing the passion for gaming that they have with everybody else. Personally, for me, it's nice to know that I can just be out doing something and I get that live notification. And I'm like, oh, what is David up to? And I click on it and I can see, and I'm like, oh, wow, he's actually playing with some other friends of mine. And so it's kind of cool that even for me, somebody that is coming from, at least with you, a perspective of, just a friend that enjoys checking in. I'm not going to be that dedicated, oh, I want to see what he's doing in this part of the raid. But I like to check in because I like to see what my friends are playing. And for a lot of the same reason, that's why I stream. I get like one viewer, and it's because I have my phone watching my stream. So I'm not big or anything, but I just like to post
Yep.
it that way. People like you guys can always
Mhm.
check in and see what I'm playing. So I love that what you're doing, I guess, is what I'm trying to say in that same regard. But I'm glad that you have your identity set. So, well, David, man, I appreciate you taking the time to do this, man. I mean, I really do. This has really been a great conversation, and I look forward to checking out more stuff that you have going on. I'm glad we were able to kind of talk about some of these games that are going to be coming out, and kind of some of these new updates that they've been releasing. But more importantly, diving into your channel a little bit and hearing some things you got going on. So
Yeah, it's been fun.
tell everybody how to follow you, what
All right.
what they need to do to check out your Twitch. And
Gonna be twitch.tv/CaustiCobra, CAUSTICOBRA. And you can follow my Twitter, same handle. I mean, like I say, I get some interest, I'll start posting on it again.
hey, well, you guys heard it here on the Dubkast. Go give them a follow and go check out David's channel, and let's continue to support these streamers. Now you guys can go follow us on anchor.fm, that's /Dubkast, and we are distributing everything out on all major platforms. You can also watch video now, as we are learning new ways of doing that on YouTube. And of course, give us a like, follow, and subscribe, because it really does help let us know how we are doing. Now, with that being said, David, thanks again for joining us. And for all you Dubcast listeners out there and viewers, we hope that no matter where you are or what you are playing, we can get you one step closer to clutching that dub. Goodbye, everybody.
See you guys.